Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today it is finally my 1 month on review of my new Bont Vapor S's. As you know, I'll be telling it how it is. Even though, disclaimer, I was actually sent these by the UK distributor of Bont cycling shoes. But that was only because I was looking for some new cycling shoes and I was a bit confused. I didn't really know what to choose. So they reached out and said, would you just like to try them? And you know, they actually are pretty good. So let me tell you a bit about them. Okay, so to give you a bit of context, I was on the lookout for some new cycling shoes. I didn't really know where to look. There's obviously like loads of brands of cycling shoes on the market. You know, really what makes them all different? What makes them stand out? But it's the first time I'd really like looked for cycling shoes, because like when I was on cycling teams, I would just get given cycling shoes. In that time, I rode Physique shoes, Specialized shoes, Mavic shoes, Shimano shoes, Lake shoes, Giro shoes. So that's 6 types, and Bont is now 7. So in 10 years, I've gone through almost almost 10 pairs of shoes. You probably know a lot about these already, like what they're like 1 month on, and the pros and cons. Not that there is many cons. I'm gonna have to have my notes in front of me now because I'm bound to forget. I'm not professional at all. Okay. Okay. So first off, let me tell you this story. So these are the shoes. These were the shoes that I was running beforehand. These are the Giro Empires. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them apart from these things. I would never be able to get them tight enough so that I'd feel like I'm securely fitted to the shoe and to the bike and everything else. So the UK distributor for Bont, they actually reached out to me on Instagram and they said, "Can see you're in a real dilemma," which I was. "Would you like to try a pair of these?" So I jumped at the chance, knowing that I'd never tried them before. Heard good things about them online, and really I didn't know where to go. Initially I was a little bit concerned about what people were saying about the stiffness, what people were saying about the fit. To start off with, I had to measure my foot. You basically just draw around your foot on a piece of paper, you measure it up, you plug it into Bont's website, and it feeds you a size. I sized in at a 42, and these are 42 and a half. They didn't have any 42s. But truth be told, there's nothing wrong with those. They fit snug, there's no problems at all. So if you go on their website, there's loads of information, okay? I'm not trying to sell you a pair of shoes, I'm just going to give you my honest review, just like I did with my old Physique shoes a good few years ago. Even though I'm not an expert, I feel like I'm in a fairly decent place to comment on what I feel fits me personally and what doesn't. These are up there with the most comfortable, but they weren't when I had them. Okay, so obviously you can heat mold these, and we'll cut to that little clip of me giving you a bit of a comical demonstration, but there's a more serious one you can find online. Okay, here we are at the oven, and what we're going to do is we're going to set the temperature to around 70 degrees. Now, actually, top tip here, most ovens don't hold their temperature very well. So unless you've got like a thermometer in which you can check the temperature, I actually didn't leave my shoes in for the 20 minutes that they say. I actually took them after 20 minutes, felt what they were like. Were they hot? Not quite. So I left them in for another 10. No longer than 30 minutes, though, I'd say, but definitely 20 minutes is the guideline I would still stick to. I'm just saying that most ovens are weird. What you do is you take your insoles out, you shove them in the oven, you leave them in there. Make sure you don't have any cleats on. When you take them out, you leave them for about a minute or so just to make sure that they're not like piping hot. Put your insoles back in, put your feet in, tighten up the bow dials, not too much, and then just have a play around with it. Now, another top tip for you is if, like me, on the outside here of the shoe, it was giving you a little bit of grief. When you have your foot in this shoe, put like a pen down the side, and what this does is, as it goes down, it forces the outside of the shoe just out away from your foot just a little bit, and I found that that really helped. Also, you can just put like 2 pairs of socks on if you wanted to, you know, 2 thin pairs, and that has a really good effect as well. And they do say that if you don't heat mold them, like people can like jump straight in them and they'll be fine. If you do heat mold them, you can get yourself a better fit. I had to heat mold mine. I have high arches. I also use my own insole. I had to change it for the one that came with the shoe, which was pretty much flat. This insole is nothing special. I've had it for years. It's one of those things where if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like I feel at home in this insole. So an insole can kind of complement the shoe really well. I find the boa dials was a clincher for me, although most high performance shoes now have boa dials. The fact that they're all white, even though I was given the option for different colors, pretty easy to keep clean. Mine are a little bit grubby. I did just come back from a ride, so I need to clean them. These holes at the front here, they actually work really well, unless you're on a turbo trainer. If you're on a turbo trainer and you don't have a fan pointed at your feet, they might get hot. Just saying. But if you're outside, I've had no problems. We've had some good-ish weather for the UK for the last month, like 15 to 20 degrees, and that's been fine. No problems at all. What a lot of people talk about is the wider toe box at the front. It's a bit more of a, I don't know, an anatomical shape, I guess. So when you push your feet down, your toes tend to spread. I do find there's more room in these than any other shoe I've used, which I suppose is a good thing. The heel then on the opposite end, man oh man, does that hold your foot in place. Like the whole concept of the shoe, the way it fits, I'm sure those of you who have used Bont shoes can relate to this, but when your foot is in there, even if you don't have the boa dials done up, your foot will not move. I haven't done sprints to like experiment with this because it's a bit dangerous. In all honesty, like because when you mold the shoe, you can like squeeze and bring the cup in a little bit at the top. It really does hold your foot in place, which can be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I remember the first few times I used this shoe, I had to get kind of used to, you know, when you're coming around say a left-hand corner and you put your left knee out, because of the way the shoe was holding my foot, it wouldn't actually let my foot kind of bend in the shoe, if that makes sense, so that I could get my knee out further. I've now got used to that, and I'm now able to corner just like I would have done before, but that was something I had to get used to. The stack height is super low. A lot of you will know that already. I've teamed it with the Speedplay cleats. It means the stack height is lower than most. The stiffness, like I said, it's pro level. You can feel the road vibrations. You can feel, I tell you one thing actually, when you're out the saddle and you're really going for it, whether it be a sprint or going up a really steep climb, and you just go in, there's like zero give. And not only is there zero give like down, there's zero give to the side. Out of the saddle, I've never come across a shoe like this. And I've not actually read anywhere in reviews where reviewers have been saying like that specifically out of the saddle, the shoe feels different, but to me it does. I'll just talk briefly about the Speedplay fixture. So because I've gone for Speedplay, it means obviously I can have a lower stack height, which means I can lower the saddle potentially, I can lower handlebars, aerodynamics, etc, blah blah blah. But just a quick note on Speedplay, because I made the change, take from this what you want, but because I made the change to Speedplay pedals at the same time that I changed my shoes, that's 2 big changes, yeah? Can we agree on that? Like, you change your shoes, that's a pretty big change already, I think. You change your pedals, and I used to run Speedplay about 5 years ago, then I changed to Shimano, back to Speedplay. Changing 2 things at once, I wouldn't recommend it, okay? I wouldn't recommend it. So take what you want from this review based on like some of the cons maybe could be caused by changing too many things at once. And that goes for a lot of things, not just shoes and pedals. The Speedplay fixture. So the Bonts come with the 3 holes for you to attach, you know, normal Shimano cleats and whatnot. Speedplay obviously come with a shim that obviously adapts the Speedplay to a 3-hole shoe. But you can, if you send them off to the right people, I wouldn't do it yourself if I were you, get 4 holes drilled, and that would take away the need for that plate. so you can in effect get an even lower stack height. So the cons then, and there's not that many, I'm gonna be honest. I had to mold them a few times. Okay, I had to mold them a few times. I have high arches, so there was a lot of trial and error with my insole. I had a big issue with insoles. I won't go down the rabbit hole too much, but needless to say, because I made so many changes, I think, I even bought new insoles. Okay, that's something else that we need to take into consideration here. I tried to get used to too many things at once. With my old insole, which I was so used to, the shoe was like brilliant. But I've only recently started to ride with this insole. I tried to get used to my newly bought insole, like straight out of the box. I put it in, and that, I think, was what was making the shoe uncomfortable or feel uncomfortable. And I was getting like little hot spots on the outside of my foot, and it just wasn't comfortable at all. And I thought, oh, here we go, like, this is gonna be one of those shoes where like I'm finally gonna find the shoe that I can't like work with, you know? But it wasn't. The Bont insole that comes with it, which is like flat and thin, I was fine with that as well. The only issue is because it was flat and thin, it was great everywhere bar the arch support. So when I switched to my old insole that I'd been using for 2 or 3 years in all my other shoes, yeah, the shoe was fine, the fit was fine. So I just had to mold with that insole in mind. I wouldn't, just like a lot of things, I wouldn't be put off if, you know, this shoe is aggressive or feels aggressive to you straight away out the box. I wouldn't be put off by that. There's lots of things, even a chamois in your new pair of boob shorts can take a bit of getting used to. Even a helmet, you know, when you put that on for the first time, you're like, oh, this thing feels weird. But over time, it grows in you and you adapt to it and it feels comfortable. You know, some things need to be worn in. I certainly think this is a product that needs to be worn in, although lots of people have told me they put it on and it feels like a slipper. But I've got to be honest, I've worn shoes in the past, you know, over those last 10 years where I put them on and I'm like, these do not feel good. And within like 3 weeks, there's nothing wrong with them at all. So take it for what it's worth. Like I said, they feel great now, and obviously the best thing to do is to either contact Bont themselves or to go to your local retailer and see if they've got them and see if you can try them or chat to somebody who uses them. In fact, find a community and get in touch with people. You know, there's probably people in this comment section now who have used Bonts, tried Bonts, get their opinion on it. We all have different feet, we all have different everything. Compare notes and see how you find them. But I'm enjoying riding these Bonts, and hopefully they will last long enough for me to do a 1 year on review, and hope you can come back for that video too. So thanks for watching. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe so you don't miss that video in a year's time, and I'll see you in the next one.